responses that will silence anyone. Stoicism, Stoic wisdom. Have you ever been in a moment where someone tried to belittle you, and you knew exactly what you wanted to say later? But in the moment, you froze. Have you ever walked away from a heated conversation replaying it in your head, wishing you had the perfect response, not to humiliate them, but to silence their arrogance with calm, unshakable strength? The truth is, power doesn't always speak the loudest. Real power often whispers. And in the world of Stoicism, the ancient philosophy practiced by warriors, emperors, and sages, silence, reason, and clarity have defeated arrogance for over 2,000 years. Today, I'm going to give you 5 smart Stoic responses that will silence anyone, not with shouting, not with anger, but with wisdom. These are not cheap comebacks. These are strategic, emotionally disciplined responses that shift power in your favor. Imagine walking into any conversation, whether it's with a difficult coworker, a disrespectful stranger, or someone trying to provoke you, and instead of reacting emotionally, you respond like Marcus Aurelius would. Calm, sharp, unshakable. That's exactly what we're building in this video. But before we dive into these 5 powerful responses, I want you to do one thing: subscribe to this channel. Because what we're about to unpack is just one piece of a much bigger Stoic toolkit. Every week, we break down Stoic philosophy in a way that's real, practical, and life-changing. If you want to become mentally stronger, more composed under pressure, and harder to manipulate, this is where it starts. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy. It's a way of living. It trains your mind to respond with intention, not impulse. It teaches you to stand tall in moments where others crumble. And in our noisy, chaotic world, mastering this is like holding a sword of calm in a storm of chaos. Now, let's set the foundation. Stoicism was practiced by figures like Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest teachers of resilience; Seneca, a wealthy Roman statesman who mastered emotional control amidst power and politics; and Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king who ruled the Roman Empire while journaling nightly about virtue, discipline, and inner peace. These men didn't rely on witty comebacks or ego battles. They relied on clarity. They understood something most people miss. When you let your emotions control your response, you hand over your power. But when you master your response, you own the room. This video isn't about humiliating others. It's about mastering yourself. The 5 smart Stoic responses you're going to learn aren't about ego. They're about strength. They're about putting arrogance in its place, not through aggression, but through wisdom. So stay with me until the end. Because by the time we finish, you'll have the exact tools to silence negativity, command respect, and walk away with your dignity, every single time. To truly understand the power behind these 5 Stoic responses, you need to know the mindset of the people who lived them. Stoicism wasn't created in a classroom. It was forged in the heat of struggle, by people who faced extreme challenges and still held the ground with calm strength. Let's start with Epictetus. He wasn't born into wealth or privilege. He was born a slave. Imagine that. Your life is not your own. Your words can be punished. Your freedom isn't guaranteed. Most people in that position would break. But not Epictetus. He realized something extraordinary. While others could control his body, they couldn't control his mind. He once said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself can fetter my will." Epictetus mastered the art of controlling his response. His calm, clear words silenced the cruelty around him. He became a teacher, not because of status, but because of mastery. His students came from all over the Roman Empire to learn how to remain unshaken in chaos. His life is living proof that power doesn't come from titles. It comes from how you respond when life presses you hardest. Then there's Seneca. Unlike Epictetus, Seneca was born into power. He was a wealthy Roman statesman, a philosopher, and a tutor to Emperor Nero. He lived in the heart of politics, a world filled with ego, manipulation, and betrayal. But Seneca practiced Stoicism to survive it. He didn't respond to insults with rage, nor to flattery with weakness. He said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Seneca understood the danger of reacting emotionally. In the Roman court, one wrong word could cost your life. But with sharp wit and calm wisdom, Seneca often turned confrontations into silence. He knew that the person who remains composed when others lose control, wins. His writings on anger and emotional control are still studied today because they give us a blueprint for strength in heated moments. And then, Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king. Imagine ruling the most powerful empire in the world while battling betrayal, war, and personal loss. He could have ruled through fear. Instead, he ruled through wisdom. Every night, he wrote in his journal, not to impress others, but to train his mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Marcus faced constant challenges, generals who questioned him, enemies who tried to break his authority, and personal tragedy. But he rarely reacted impulsively. His calm responses often disarmed opposition. He believed that true strength isn't about overpowering someone, it's about mastering yourself so completely that no insult, no attack, no chaos can shake your center. These three figures, a slave, a statesman, and an emperor, couldn't be more different. Yet they shared the same philosophy. Stoicism gave them inner power. It trained their minds to pause before reacting, to choose their response instead of being controlled by emotion. That's what made their words and actions cut through arrogance like a blade through silk. In today's world, the challenges are different, but the principles are the same. You'll meet people who provoke you, disrespect you, or underestimate you. The average person reacts emotionally, gives away power, and regrets it later. But the Stoic way is different. It's about taking a breath, standing firm, and responding with wisdom that silences without shouting. In this video, you're not just learning comebacks, you're learning mental weaponry. Each of the 5 responses you're about to discover is built on this Stoic foundation. And when you combine them with the mindset of people like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, you become someone who can't be rattled, manipulated, or disrespected easily. So, with this foundation laid, let's step into the first powerful Stoic response. A response that, when mastered, will give you an edge in any conversation, no matter who stands in front of you. First smart Stoic response. One of the smartest ways to silence someone is not to attack them, it's to calmly reveal the weakness in their words. And the Stoics mastered this. Imagine this. Someone throws a sarcastic remark at you in front of others, trying to make you look foolish. The normal reaction is to snap back or defend yourself emotionally. But that's exactly what they want. Instead, here's a Stoic response that shifts the power. Is that so? Simple, calm, delivered with a level gaze and a steady tone. It doesn't attack. It doesn't defend. It puts the burden of proof back on them. This response is inspired by a famous Stoic practice, questioning assumptions. Epictetus often told his students, "Don't be dragged by appearances, challenge them with reason." By saying, "Is that so?" you invite the other person to explain themselves. And most of the time, their remark wasn't built on logic, it was built on impulse. Now they have to scramble to justify it. Take a workplace example. A colleague mocks your idea in a meeting. Instead of reacting, you turn to them and calmly say, "Is that so?" Suddenly, the attention shifts. People look at them, expecting a logical follow-up. If they don't have one, their arrogance collapses under its own weight. Psychologically, this works because it removes emotional fuel. They expect resistance. When they don't get it, their momentum breaks. You remain composed, they start explaining, and in that moment, your silence is louder than their insult. To apply this in real life, keep your tone calm, not sarcastic. Maintain relaxed body language. Use it only once. Don't turn it into a debate. This Stoic response doesn't humiliate. It reveals. It forces empty words into the light, and when that happens, arrogance usually fades away. Second smart Stoic response. The second smart response isn't about questioning the other person. It's about exposing the emotion behind their words without matching it. The response: "It sounds like that upset you more than it did me." This response does two things at once. 1. It calmly acknowledges the emotion in their statement. 2. It highlights your emotional control, without boasting. Imagine someone raises their voice at you, trying to provoke a reaction. Most people mirror that energy. They argue louder, defend themselves, or get flustered. But when you respond with, "It sounds like that upset you more than it did me," you hold up a mirror. You don't attack, you simply reveal their emotional state while showing that you're not shaken. This approach reflects Marcus Aurelius's mindset. He wrote that other people's opinions and emotions are theirs, not yours. You have power over your mind, not theirs. By calmly stating this response, you draw a clear line. Their storm is theirs, not yours. Picture a heated argument where someone accuses you unfairly. Instead of defending every point, you take a breath, steady your voice, and deliver this line. Watch their reaction. They expected a fight. Instead, they're suddenly made aware of their own emotional spike. It's disarming. Psychologically, this response works because it removes you from the emotional tug of war. You're no longer a participant in their chaos. You've become the observer. This shift often causes the aggressor to either tone down or feel uncomfortable continuing their attack. To use this effectively, keep your tone soft and neutral, not smug. Don't follow it with a lecture. Let the line breathe. Hold eye contact calmly. This Stoic response is powerful because it uses clarity as a weapon. It turns emotional attacks into moments of reflection, not for you, but for them. Third smart Stoic response. The third Stoic response is subtle but devastating to arrogance, because it doesn't meet hostility with hostility, it meets it with truth. The response, "That says more about you than it does about me." This line isn't defensive. It doesn't try to convince anyone. It simply places the responsibility for their behavior back where it belongs, on them. Imagine someone mocks you publicly, tries to insult your appearance, your choices, or your success. The instinct is to hit back, to explain, or to prove yourself. But Stoics like Seneca would advise against that. He wrote that insults don't harm you unless you accept them. By calmly saying, "That says more about you than it does about me," you refuse to accept their insult. You reflect it back without aggression. This response works especially well in situations where the other person is projecting their insecurity. For example, someone says, "Wow, you really think you're special, don't you?" Instead of reacting, you breathe, give a small, calm smile, and reply, "That says more about you than it does about me." Psychologically, this line flips the dynamic. You've removed yourself from the emotional battlefield. You're no longer defending, you're observing. It often catches the aggressor off guard, because they expected resistance, not self-possession. This is exactly what Marcus Aurelius practiced daily. He reminded himself, "The opinion of others is a wind that passes through. It only affects you if you let it in." When you use this response, you are silently declaring that their judgment does not define your reality. To use this effectively, keep your delivery calm and neutral. Do not use sarcasm. That weakens the effect. Once you say it, stop talking. Let the silence do the work. This Stoic response is sharp wisdom in its purest form. It holds a mirror to others' behavior and lets them reveal themselves. And the best part, you remain untouchable. Fourth smart Stoic response. The fourth Stoic response is pure composure. It's not about clever words or sharp wit. It's about showing, through your calm, that you're in control, even when others aren't. The response, "I see." Two simple words, but when delivered with steady eye contact and emotional stillness, they neutralize provocation like almost nothing else. Imagine someone trying to get a rise out of you, insulting your work, mocking your beliefs, or undermining you in front of others. They're expecting pushback, defense, or at least a flicker of insecurity. Instead, you listen, you pause, and you say, with quiet confidence, "I see." This response works because it does nothing emotionally. It neither agrees nor disagrees. It acknowledges their statement without absorbing its energy. It communicates that you've heard them, but you're not shaken by it. The Stoics understood this power deeply. Epictetus taught that no one can harm you without your consent. Marcus Aurelius practiced responding to critics not with outrage, but with inner steadiness. By simply saying, "I see," you embody this philosophy. You show that their words are like wind against a mountain, noticed, but not moving you. Psychologically, this unsettles aggressors because they're trying to control your emotional state. When they fail, they're left with their own noise. And everyone around can feel that shift. You go from being a target to being an anchor. To use this effectively, keep your tone even and unhurried. Don't add explanations. The power is in the simplicity. Maintain relaxed posture and steady eye contact. This response is calm power in its purest form. No debate, no defense. Just composure so solid that arrogance runs out of steam on its own. Fifth smart Stoic response. The final Stoic response isn't really about what you say. It's about the way you end things. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is calmly close the conversation. The response: "We'll leave it at that." This line isn't aggressive. It isn't dismissive. It's firm, clear, and delivered with composed authority. It communicates one message: the discussion is over, and you decide when it ends. Picture this. Someone keeps pushing an argument, trying to trap you in circles, hoping you'll lose your cool or contradict yourself. Most people get dragged in, wasting energy trying to win. The Stoic approach is different. You listen, you stay calm, and when you realize the conversation has no productive end, you look them in the eye and say, "We'll leave it at that." This simple line shuts the door with dignity. You're not storming off. You're not giving them the emotional satisfaction of a fight. You're choosing peace over chaos, and the decision radiates strength. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that engaging with every insult or argument only feeds noise. A king doesn't explain himself to every heckler in the crowd. He decides where his energy goes. This response embodies that principle. Psychologically, it's disarming. The aggressor often expects you to keep debating. But when you calmly decide to end it, you set the terms. You show that your inner state isn't controlled by their persistence. To use this effectively, keep your tone steady and final, not annoyed. Deliver it once, and then stop talking. If needed, calmly walk away or shift your focus elsewhere. This response isn't about winning, it's about protecting your peace with quiet power. And in many situations, that's what silences arrogance the most. In the end, these 5 smart Stoic responses are not about winning arguments. They're about winning yourself. The greatest victories are often silent. They happen in the space between provocation and reaction, in that moment where you choose not to let someone else control your state of mind. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire, reminded himself daily that his power lay not in the throne, but in his ability to remain calm in the face of chaos. Epictetus, once a slave, became unbreakable not because his world changed, but because he mastered his response to it, and Seneca survived the political storms of Rome with wisdom, not volume. Each of these responses, "Is that so? It sounds like that upset you more than it did me. That says more about you than it does about me. I see," and "we'll leave it at that," is more than a phrase. It's a reflection of a mind trained in discipline, clarity, and peace. When you use them, you're not just silencing someone else. You're silencing chaos inside you. You're choosing strength over ego, reason over impulse, stillness over noise. And that choice, repeated over time, shapes you into someone who commands respect without ever demanding it. If this kind of wisdom resonates with you, if you want to keep strengthening your mind, mastering your reactions, and living with Stoic power, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Here, we don't just talk about philosophy. We live it every week. We dive into Stoic principles and practical tools that will help you stay centered no matter what life throws your way. Because in a world that rewards loudness, being calm and clear is a superpower. And the more people who understand this, the stronger and more peaceful our lives become. Thank you for watching, and remember, your greatest power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering yourself.